We're living in a day where the increase of international trade is creating unmanageable stresses upon transportation systems all over the United States. Large ships carrying containerized cargo dock in the major deep water ports of New York and Los Angeles and unload their cargo onto trucks and trains which crisscross the country to their destinations and back. This process of moving cargo by trains and trucks across the country has become incredibly overutilized, resulting in time-wasting bottlenecks of congestion and costly volumes of fuel which boost environmentally unsafe emissions and carbon footprinting throughout the United States. Congestion on our nation's highways has caused urban Americans to travel nearly 5 billion hours more, having to purchase an additional 3 billion gallons of fuel for a congestion cost of over $80 million. With the projected increase in international trade over the next 20 years, the congestion at ports will grow light years, leaving cargo vessels in limbo offshore for days and weeks and disrupting the reliable management of supply chains at unfathomable costs that affects every aspect of commerce. With this alarming look at the future of international trade and its impact on U.S. transportation systems, it is imperative to find alternative modes of transporting goods that will avoid these problems while maintaining reliability, consistency, and competitive rates. The most viable solution is to increase the amount of transportation on America's inland waterways, which centuries ago was the primary mode of transport, but today is grossly underutilized, carrying only 1.4 billion tons, or just 2% of all cargo. Using America's waterways will decrease congestion and increase efficiency, as one barge can carry the same number of containers as 2 stack trains or 350 container trucks. A waterborne supply chain will be less costly. 1 gallon of fuel will move 1 ton of cargo only 60 miles by truck and just 200 miles by train. But it will go 500 miles on a single barge, more than 8 times further than it would move by truck. Transport by water would not only be more time and cost efficient, it would be more environmentally safe. Transporting by water instead of 2 stacked trains or 250 container trucks would reduce carbon dioxide emission by 240,000 tons, nitrogen oxide by 2,700 tons, reactive organic gases by 110 tons, and diesel particulate matter by 15 tons. A natural route for any international supply chain would be the Mississippi River and its tributaries, which travel 14,500 miles into the heart of the central United States, reaching 50 million people in 33 states and Canada. Due to the required draft, which is 50 feet, larger containerized cargo vessels would be unable to transit the Mississippi River or berth at ports in the Gulf of Mexico. And with the projected exponential increase in use of cargo containers, shipping companies are investing billions of dollars in the production of larger containerized cargo vessels that will carry 2 to 3 times as many cargo containers than are transported on the smaller workhorse vessels today. Aware of this trend toward larger containerized cargo vessels, the Panama Canal has embarked on an ambitious 10-year multi-billion-dollar project to add an additional lane that would accommodate cargo vessels twice the size as those able to transit the Panama Canal today. The new lane will be operational in 2014. A bright new solution for this international supply chain and for the future of international commerce is the creation of the Louisiana International Gulf Transfer Terminal. A world-class billion-dollar port facility with the most advanced technology available today, the new transfer terminal would be located just outside the mouth of the Mississippi River and would create a waterborne supply chain from the Panama Canal up the U.S. inland waterway and all the way up to central Canada. It would serve as the centerpiece of a new international supply chain, providing access to large markets in the Midwest through Canada using inland waterways and short sea shipping or smaller ships to reach ports along the Gulf of Mexico and the Mississippi River. As containerized cargo traffic from Asia and South America increases, the transfer terminal would create a new route to and from the largest containerized ports in the world. For example, from ports on both east and west coasts of South America, through the Gulf of Mexico and the transfer terminal, up the Mississippi River to ports in Canada and onward to the Shanghai Shipping Center at Yangshan Logistics Park, a 20 million container per year port, and vice versa. 33 states in the Midwest will be connected to this international supply chain, accessible via the Mississippi's waterways. Large vessels now berthing in Freeport, Jamaica, to offload cargo destined for the United States will be able to berth at the new transfer terminal at the mouth of the Mississippi River. Newer, larger container cargo ships, too large to enter most ports in the United States, even the Mississippi River, will be able to dock and unload their containers at the transfer terminal for other smaller vessels to pick up later. The terminal will be in the best position to develop two-way import-export trade with 6 railheads in the Port of New Orleans. This new Gulf Deepwater Terminal will be built with private funding and located outside the Mississippi River off the eastern side of the Southwest Pass in permanently deep water, which never needs dredging. The initial phase of the transfer terminal will be built on 250 acres adjacent to water at a depth of 80 feet, easily accommodating the largest containerized cargo vessels, both in production today and projected for the future. Because larger containerized cargo vessels are unable to transit the Mississippi River or berth at ports in the Gulf of Mexico due to the required draft, which is 50 feet or more, short sea vessels can be used to transport containerized cargo from the transfer terminal to ports along the Gulf of Mexico and the Mississippi River. A big advantage for shippers would be that containerized cargo vessels would be able to easily offload all or almost all of their containers at the new Gulf transfer terminal and return to their home ports quickly without having to unload at additional ports, creating the opportunity for additional turns or trips. For shipping companies throughout the world, greater utilization of their fleets of 200-plus vessels means greater positive effects on their bottom line. Panama Canal officials see this new Gulf transport terminal as valuable to their expansion and attracting more shipment of goods through the Panama Canal into the Gulf of Mexico. The Louisiana International Gulf Transport Terminal would be expandable to thousands of acres as needed. It would be fully automated, green-built, and would feature extensive living quarters. Because the new Gulf terminal would be raised 40 feet above any potential storm surges and able to withstand hurricane-force winds, the terminal could be used as a safe harbor for vessels in the path of tropical systems. Built with high-tech equipment for detection of weapons of mass destruction, containers could be screened before entering populated areas, beginning with New Orleans. The terminal, therefore, could serve as a potential site for homeland security, as well as a U.S. Coast Guard facility. Finally, using the transfer terminal as the centerpiece of the new international trade route would preserve environmentally safe transport, reducing the carbon footprint. The Louisiana International Gulf Transfer Terminal Authority has been charged by the Louisiana State Legislature and Governor to oversee the development of the new transfer terminal. The authority is a 17-member board made up of legislators, port directors, and other representatives of the shipping industry. To be built with money from private investors, the transfer terminal could be completed prior to 2014 in conjunction with the Panama Canal's new lane. Finally, to sum up the advantages of a new Louisiana International Gulf Transfer Terminal, it will be built on state-owned land and licensed to private investors. It will have a strategic location at the mouth of the Mississippi River and will be accessible to all vessels navigating the Gulf of Mexico, regardless of size. It will also be located centrally to all other ports along the Gulf of Mexico. It will focus on incremental businesses that currently do not have ports. It will be accessible to South American ports and Asia. It will be a natural deep port requiring no costly dredging or environmental concerns. It will serve as a major value add to the expansion of the Panama Canal, which will accommodate large containerized cargo vessels. It will serve as an environmentally safe form of transporting goods, reducing the carbon footprint of U.S. commerce. It is a potential site for Homeland Security with its high-tech detection system for weapons of mass destruction. It will serve as the gateway for the transporting of commerce along 14,500 river miles through 33 states in the U.S. and markets serving 50 million people. And finally, it will be the centerpiece of a new international supply chain, including a network of ports stretching from Central and South America to the Gulf region, through the Midwest, and on northward to Canada, and from ports in Canada to Shanghai. In short, with the rapid increase of world trade transport each year, solutions are needed for an efficient, cost-effective, and environmentally safe future. The Louisiana International Gulf Transfer Terminal is that future.